Hello everybody. Let's just wait a little bit to see if anyone joins in. I will save this and upload this. Hello Third INZ. So beautiful to connect again. I have just returned from another Vipassana and it is good to be back. But anyone who's ever done a Vipassana knows that when you have that day, when you first start talking again, it's like everything's a bit slow, the words come to your mind a bit slow, and it just takes a bit of time to kind of integrate back into the world again. But I've just returned, so I just wanted to share my experience of Vipassana, 10 days of silence meditation. I'm so happy because I have my cacao. It's something I normally drink, and I didn't have any during Vipassana, so yeah, this is my first cup. Beautiful texture, so lovely to have you join. Mwah. Welcome, welcome. Saf, beautiful sister. Oh, welcome. All the people that I love jumping on here, and just very briefly feeling called to come and say hi. Thank you. Welcome back from Vipassana. Yes, 10 days, been away, no phone, no interaction with anyone, and yeah, I definitely feel that if you ever feel called to doing something like this, and yeah, if it aligns in terms of your life, beautiful texture. I'm so glad you're here. If it aligns with your life and sort of you can take time out to do it, definitely I would feel called to say to you to listen to the intuition and do it. Saf says, I'm looking refreshed. I honestly, every time I do a Vipassana, I do feel so refreshed. I feel so just kind of balanced. And the Third Eye in New Zealand, where I used to get all my beautiful crystals down K Road in Auckland, they say that I look sparkly. I feel sparkly because now we have some sunshine as well. Winter here in Birmingham, it has been dark. And it was interesting because it was pretty dark during the 10 days of the meditation as well, as it is winter here in the UK, and then we got to day 9 and the sun was starting to come out a bit, and on day 10 it was just full bright sun, and it was just so beautiful, so beautiful. So welcome to those who have joined, and yeah, I will save this and pop it up on Instagram and YouTube for anyone who may want to have a look and a listen. But yeah, I guess I just wanted to come on here and share a little bit about my journey of Vipassana and kind of what I get from it. And like anything, like Vipassana will be different experiences for different people because our life experiences are all so different. But yeah, whenever I come out of a Vipassana, I always feel much more clearer, a lot more clarity, balanced and grounded, I would say as well. Just going to have a sip of cacao because this tastes so good. Oh my god, I missed it. So good. So I think maybe what I wanted to start this off with was maybe my journey with Vipassana and how I got into it, how I heard about it, and what my journey has been with it. So I did my first ever Vipassana 2020 when I was living in London. It kind of just came into my awareness while I was doing some part-time work in a yoga studio at East of Eden. And I think I had heard that one of the yoga instructors speak about Vipassana in New Zealand. And I was like, oh, what's this Vipassana? And you know, he said it was 10 days of silence meditation. And I was like, okay, cool, let me just apply, and if I get in, then that's a great opportunity to go home. It will be the summer, see my family, and then head off and do Vipassana. And I was just really feeling a strong pull to do it at that time in my life. And I remember the first one I did, I just felt so like this whole, I just had a deeper clarity and deeper understanding of myself. But Vipassana, I will explain a little bit about what it actually is. So it's a meditation practice where you observe your body, observe your breath. And I think the best way to explain it, I read it in the booklet just before, so I think I'm going to just read what it says in the booklet so you can have an understanding. So Vipassana is one of India's most ancient meditation techniques. Long lost to humanity, it was discovered by Gautama the Buddha more than 2,500 years ago. Vipassana means seeing things as they really are. It is the process of self-purification by self-observation. One begins by observing the natural breath to concentrate the mind. With a sharpened awareness, one proceeds to observe the changing nature of body and mind and experiences the universal truths of impermanence, suffering, and egolessness. This truth realization by direct experience is the process of purification. So, I thought that was a really good little introduction to kind of explain what it is, and just, I definitely feel like that's what it's helped me do over the past kind of 5 years. This is my 6th year of like practicing this particular technique, and I definitely feel after I do a Vipassana meditation, just my mind feels purified. I'm able to see a lot clearer, and my manifestation of what I want to call into my life becomes like very powerful and pretty instantaneous. For example, I just want to share this little manifestation that happened while I was at Vipassana. So on day 8, so my bleed, I was expecting my bleed while I was there. As a woman, I bleed every month, which is such a beautiful, beautiful gift. On day 8, my bleed came, and I was like, cool, that's great, welcome. But normally what I would have at home is like some chocolate, and the food there, by the way, is amazing. It's all vegetarian based, and it's all created by volunteers. Like the whole place is run completely by volunteers from old students that have done the course before, and because these old students have just felt such a shift in their life and have experienced such amazing things from this particular technique, you just kind of want to give back. You just want other people to feel how amazing this is. So there's a lot of servers, like it's completely run by servers. So all the servers have cooked all the beautiful food, and on a few particular days there's a special treat. There is like sometimes some sort of sweet treat. And on a couple of the days I was like, there was like a flapjack, which was so beautiful, but I was like, I don't really eat oats so much anymore. And on day 2 of my bleed, I was like, I really feel like some chocolate, something with some kind of chocolate in it. And I remember going up to the counter. I'd had my vegetarian lunch, and I walked past the cake, and I was like, I'm sure it's probably like a flapjack. And then I got my tea, and then I went back and looked inside, and I saw that it was a chocolate cake. So I went up to the server, and it's all silent, so you're not allowed to talk to anyone else, the students. But if you want to ask a question to a server or a teacher, there's a server there just there waiting to serve you, which is so amazing. And I was like, is this cake vegan? Because I eat vegan, nature-based foods. And she's like, yes. And I was like, oh. So I was so happy. I had like my chocolate cake that I had manifested in my mind with my tea, and it was just so such a beautiful experience. So that was just like a little story about manifestation. I feel like any practices that allow you to get very clear in your vessel, in your body, allows manifestation to come. For me, personally, in this life experience, Vipassana has really allowed that to happen and helped me align with what is truly meant for me in this particular life. And it was meant to be chocolate cake that particular day. So my first ever Vipassana I did in New Zealand, in Kaupapa, which is north of Auckland. That was back in 2020, and for me I was kind of travelling a lot at that moment, so being able to do something like Vipassana where you're really looked after, you are so looked after, you have to meditate, you have to stick to the timetable of waking up at 4 in the morning, being in the meditation hall at 4:30 till 6:30, you have your breakfast. I'll actually go through the timetable so you can have an understanding. You have your breakfast at 6:30, then there's a group meditation from 8 to 9. Then from 9 to 11 there is, you meditate in the hall or in your own room. Then at 11 to 12 there's a lunch break with some beautiful, beautiful food that's been created with so much love, and you can feel it when you're eating it. You're like, oh, this is filled with so much love. And then there's a rest, and from 1 o'clock to 2:30 there's another meditation in the hall. At 2:30 to 3:30 there's a group meditation. Hello Salimi, welcome. I've missed you. I'm just going through the timetable of the Vipassana. So from 2:30 to 3:30 it's a group meditation. So any of the group meditations, they are compulsory, so you have to be in the hall. Any of the other meditations you can either do in the hall or in your own room, which is interesting because I met someone there who had done a Vipassana in India. Because the great thing about Vipassana is that it's international and you can do it anywhere around the world. It's the same technique. But she said in India they have to stay in the hall for all of the meditations, which is a bit more intense. But yeah, for us in the Western world, we are able to go away from the hall when it's our own meditation. But for the group sits, you have to stay in the hall. And yeah, so from 3:30 to 5 there's a meditation in the hall again. And then you have a tea break from 5 to 6, and 6 to 7 is a group meditation. 7 to 8:15 is a discourse where you actually watch a video, which is where the teacher Goenka talks about the technique and sort of questions that may arise, and helps you understand the technique in a deeper way. And obviously everyone sort of understands things in different ways, so that's why the video is really good. And then there's another group meditation from 8:15 to 9, and then from 9 o'clock it's kind of the gong goes and you're able to go back to your room and go to sleep, or there's an opportunity to ask the teacher if you have any questions. So everything is completely in silence. There should not be any talking. There's a lot of other things that you have to kind of give up for that 10 days. So I'm just going to go through some of the things so you have a sort of a deeper understanding if you do feel called to do something like this. So there's noble silence. All students must observe this. You may ask the teacher if you have any questions, or ask for an interview with the teacher, or there's like a manager, a course manager that you can ask questions to. There's separation of men and women, so you have like the men's accommodation and the women's accommodation where you sleep and eat separately, and then when you meditate in the same group hall. The men are usually on the left and the women are on the right. No physical contact, no yoga and physical exercise, so you're not allowed to be out there kind of releasing all this energy. And I feel like the reason why that is because when you're sitting and meditating, you have to sit with that energy. And as someone who used to be very physically active and moving around the world a lot, like from New Zealand to London, and teaching group fitness classes, to doing Olympic weightlifting, to kickboxing, to jiu-jitsu, I always had a lot of energy, which was actually things in my subconscious that I needed to sit with. But sometimes if you're one of these people that are like doing things a lot, it's actually suppressed things that are coming out in a massive expression. So what I love about this technique is it allows you to actually find a balance and find a middle ground, not necessarily suppressing your emotion/energy, not necessarily over-expressing your emotion/energy, but finding that middle ground and being able to observe that energy and to decipher, do I want to use this energy to express? Is it going to be the best outcome for myself and for other people? Is it an energy of love and peace? And for me, growing up with a mother with bipolar, who was very extreme, high-low, I think for me, I had learnt that was kind of normal. And when I experienced sort of anything in between or in the middle, it felt weird for me. Anything that was peaceful felt very unfamiliar. So being able to sit with yourself and sit with your body and try to be at peace with being at peace is what you learn. And it just brings so many other benefits as well. So back to what you can't do. You can't bring any religious objects, rosaries, crystals or talismans. And I remember the first course I did, I was like, I'm going to bring my crystals. I'm like, it's part of nature. And then I saw that and I was like, oh. And the reason for that is, so that you can really give the technique like a really good go for 10 days, nothing else. Sort of not doing your normal prayers that you would normally do in your religion that you practice, to really allow yourself to get a deep understanding of the technique, because the technique is universal. You don't have to be, you can be any religion, any gender, as long as you breathe oxygen. That's all you need. It's universal, so that's why it's so beautiful. So no intoxicants and drugs. No tobacco, no food, so no extra like snacks or anything like that. You have to abide by the correct eating times, which is 6:30 in the morning to 7:30 for breakfast and 11 to 12 for lunch. And then if you're a new student, you get another tea break at 5 to 6 where you get some fruit and tea, and if you're an old student, you just get some lemon water, which I feel like it actually helps with your fasting, so it actually helps with the meditation to allow you to get deeper. So I've done, this was my 5th course that I've done, coming back as an old student and just having the lemon water, I could really feel the difference of like, getting deeper into this meditation. So clothing as well, it needs to be modest and comfortable. No tight pants or anything like that, or short tops. It's really, you kind of become a nun and a monk for the 10 days, and you really just renounce everything. And it's actually so freeing, because as a woman, sometimes we might feel like we need to do our hair, put our makeup on, put our jewelry on. But because like no one's looking at you, everyone should be in their own little space. Like when I go and I'm walking around the grounds or going to my meditation, I have like a shawl, and I will wear it like a shawl or a scarf. When I was in New Zealand in the summer, it was a scarf, but I will like have it like this and just kind of be walking like this, because that way my energy is completely focused on myself. I'm not looking at anything else, because it's 100% about observing yourself. And by doing that, you don't allow other people just to distract you as well. And if it's the first time you're doing something like this, it can be really challenging, because it's such a normal thing for us to walk down the street, have eye contact, maybe smile at someone, but that's not encouraged, because that can be distracting to other people and their time there. And it's such a sacred time and a sacred thing to gift to yourself. So it's about really making the most of the 10 days that you're there for yourself, and for the people in your lives. Like I definitely feel like my relationships in my life has just improved so much through doing this Vipassana. Like working on yourself and creating and honouring and harvesting and nurturing that relation with yourself is the most important relationship that you'll ever have in your life, because from there all these other relationships in your life can be just so filled with love and so filled with just beauty. It always starts with ourselves. No outside contact with anyone. If there's any emergencies, we can work around that, but that's not what you're meant to do. No music, no reading or writing. So you can't even kind of bring a book in and journal anything, because when you're meditating, you get to see how active your mind really is, and it would just be impossible to write down anything that comes to your mind, because actually as well it's about observing the thoughts and not necessarily allowing the thoughts to create action, to create an action. It's just about learning to observe it and just be equanimous, which is to be in the center, to be objective about your thoughts. No tape recorders or cameras, and it's all donation based, which is the most beautiful thing, because the whole idea of that is that if you kind of ask for something like this, if you ask for a particular cost, say if you go in and they ask for the cost of just the food and the accommodation, and you pay that cost, you go up and get your meal, and then there's something there that you don't like, and then you'll be thinking like, oh, well, the ego will be thinking, well, I paid for this, I don't want this food. But the idea is that you renounce everything, so you become a monk, you become someone that lives on charity, and that is what strips the ego. So the idea behind that is when you get to the end of the course, you can really go within and think like, has this course helped me or has it not? What do I feel to give? And it's about what you feel to give and what you felt you got from it. And it can be something so small. It's whatever you have to give. It's all about, if it's coming from that place of love, which I feel like if you do a course like this, you strip back so much that you do come back to this energy of love. So that's the beautiful thing about it. If you haven't got finances, it's all donation based, and there's ways of getting into this practice if you feel called to it. But I kind of call it, like I was saying to some of the ladies on day 9, when you can start speaking again, I was saying, this is a meditation boot camp. It's not a retreat. You're not going there to kind of relax, and you're going deep into your mind. You're doing deep surgery in your mind, and with that you've got to be just gentle with yourself. But whilst you're in there, you have to be disciplined. You have to be disciplined to sit and meditate and just observe your thoughts, and you will be able to do this when they teach you the technique day by day. So they do it very gradually, and then each day you'll get more instructions on how to add on to the technique, and then you go away and practice, because the idea behind this meditation, it's all about practice. It's all about the experience of how you feel it in your body. There's no theory, because you can have the theory about something, but if you don't understand it experientially, viscerally, sensorily on your body, you're not really gonna get it. And that's what this meditation is all about. So I started my first meditation 5 years ago, my first 10-day course in Kaupapa in Auckland, and then I did another one 6 months after that, because then we had COVID. I went back to London actually, and then after Kaupapa and COVID happened, so I went back to New Zealand, and then 6 months after that I did another 10-day sit at Kaupapa again in New Zealand, and then I did and then what did I do? I tried to do like a home one at home in New Zealand when I was living with my mum, and so it was kind of more just not talking to the people I was living with, and I was doing the meditation, so it was a bit difficult, the living situation at that point, so I couldn't stick to the timetable. So the idea with the home one is you just stick to the timetable, you have someone to create your meals, and then you just do the meditations and you listen to the discourses. So I tried that, and then in England I moved back to the UK, to London in 21? I can't really remember, but 2022, I went to Suffolk and I did a course there. But what I actually did was I served. I was like, I need to do a serve. So I served for 10 days for a 10-day course. And my role was cleaning the toilets, which I absolutely loved, because every time I was cleaning each toilet, I was like doing it with so much love, because I knew how intense the meditation was that those 10 days was. So that I wanted to make sure that those people coming out of those meditations, when they were going to use the toilet, it was like clean for them, so that they can enjoy the experience of releasing as well, because going to the toilet and releasing, through your bowels and your urine, you're releasing energetically as well. So I think that's really important to I felt that was a really important role. I helped out a little bit in the kitchen as well, and it was just such an amazing experience being able to be there with other meditators from all around the world. And then so after I did the serve for 10 days, then I sat for 10 days and did a 10-day sit, and that was 2 years ago. And then last year I did a home sit in this very place where I was here for 10 days, and actually a year ago. And I did a Instagram live after that, and I think I was sitting in the same place with this plant. So that was my first ever home sit, and that was a really incredible, deepening, clearing experience. And then this year I was actually going to do a home sit again, and what kind of happened, but everything is so divine, and I had planned to do the sit from the 15th or the 14th to the 25th, and something inside me was just feeling really cool to go back to Suffolk. And I was like, let me just check. Let me just type online to see if there's any spaces available, because sometimes people drop out, and 2 weeks ago before that it said it was full. So I went online and it said that there was a short waiting list for a course happening the very next day, so on the 15th, and this was the 14th, and I was like, okay, let me just apply. This was 3 o'clock in the evening on the 14th of this month, January 2025, and I applied, and then 10 minutes later I got a reply saying, you've been accepted, please confirm your place. And I was like, yes, I'm going. So I booked my coach ticket to London, booked my train ticket to Suffolk, and then I packed that evening, and then by the next morning I was off to Suffolk, and I started the Vipassana on the 15th. And I just feel like every time I go back and do a 10-day sit, I get a deeper understanding of the technique and myself, because it depends. I feel like it depends on where you are in your life, on your life journey. What information will come through and what will really stick. And for me, throughout my journey of doing Vipassana, not until the last 2 years I've actually really been dedicating myself to meditating every day for an hour in the morning, maybe 20 minutes in the evening. But since making this commitment to myself and my meditation, I've just felt my growth just expand and just go next level. So I think I look at sort of these practices now like I would when I used to do sports and when I used to do fitness. When I had a goal of going to the Olympics as a Olympic weightlifter, I was dedicated to my training, getting up early on it with my nutrition and having everything I needed. When I was kickboxing, I was training so hard. When I was doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or if I was competing, I knew I had to be on the mat and training, be on it with my nutrition, with my sleep. And I know that I got results with that. So I've realised with my spiritual practices, in order to get, to a space of more clarity and balance and internal knowing, and just have a life of joy and peace and love. That's what we all want, right? We want to be at peace within. We don't want to have these old past traumas or demons coming back to us, actually subconsciously as well, without us realizing, sort of creating the trajectory of our lives and how we live and how we interact with other people in the world, and sometimes like self-sabotaging ourselves, and this is talking from self-experience without even realizing it. But when you can go and do something like Vipassana, you don't have any distractions, so you have to face your demons, you have to go to your dark shadows, you have to be there and sit with yourself. But on the other side of that, once you slay your dragons, there is peace. I know for me personally, in this particular Vipassana, I had 2 dragons that I slayed. One dragon or demon of abandonment from childhood, and one of rejection. And I felt like those 2 things were really, without me realizing, kind of affecting the way I lived my life. And now I just feel so at peace and in control of these demons. Now they're my friends, actually. But yeah, I would definitely recommend doing a Vipassana if you ever feel called to it. For me now, this year, my goal will be to meditate an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening. Dedicate myself to doing that practice, because I just know that it's going to elevate me and just take me even further along my journey. And manifestations, things you want to manifest that are in alignment with your truth and your soul, they just come to you the more you clean out your vessel, like spiritually, physically, emotionally. And if you look at sort of energies or your past traumas and that sort of stuff as like heaviness, right? When you're able to lift the heaviness, have you ever felt that feeling when you've just, okay, say you're carrying like a really big bag and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so heavy, and then you take it off, you feel so light. That's what I feel like. That is what I have felt like each time I've done a Vipassana the past 5 years. So I feel super light. Still getting used to talking again. My throat was a little bit like dry with a dry cough, especially coming back through London from Suffolk. There was a lot of energy, but it was cool because through getting to observe yourself through this experiential practice of meditation, you're able to observe the world around you and to observe people and to observe situations. And you have the power to choose how you respond to situations in your life. That is the true power, when you're able to observe and control yourself. You're connected with the divine, you're connected with Source, God, the universe, love energy. Oh, it feels so good. But yeah, if anyone's got any questions, feel free to pop it in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. I do love that about Vipassana, that you can travel anywhere and do it. I would love to do a Vipassana either in Sri Lanka or Thailand, somewhere quite warm. And at the same time, it's been really beautiful actually. I've loved doing Vipassana here in England in the winter because it's dark. There's no light, but yeah, you can, with the darkness, it allows you to go into your darkness. A lot of sort of shadows that you may not have been aware of that were there from your past, and even anxiety for the future. So yeah, please feel free to comment. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer. But it is very lovely to be back. I'm glad to be back, and I'm looking forward to being present, first of all. I think I thought I was being present before I went away, but I realised now, I've had more clarity, like I had moments of being present, but my past was pulling me and my future was pulling me. But now I feel like at peace with those things, allowing me to come back to center and balance. ultimately peace at the end. So yeah, feeling peaceful, feeling so grounded, feeling balanced, feeling in the middle, feeling aligned. So I'm sending you all so much love, so much metta, so much kindness, so much positivity. And thank you all for being here, for watching. Thank you, Lucky. Love you. And yeah, I look forward to connecting either online, here, or physically. If you feel called to, I do have a WhatsApp group, which is a little community where there's a meditation chat where I do meditations on there as well. Sometimes I do meditations on Zoom. I have like a creativity chat for any of your creativeness that you, whether it's through dance or music that you want to share. And yeah, there's a few other bits and pieces. Ultimately, it's such a beautiful space for other people on this journey that are here to grow and evolve and interact with each other and learn from each other through sharing their own personal experience. So this is me sharing my experience with you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for existing. Thank you for being present. I love you all so much. Mwah. Have the most beautiful day and look forward to connecting soon. Love you.